Okay, well, welcome back, Laurenz. If you've seen the first video, you know we made it. We're here in Germany. It's beautiful. It's summertime. We're enjoying cherries. And we've spent the last 2 days walking around the farm here at Guten Bozel, I've seen at least 12 different agroforestry systems. I'm sure there's more, but they've been really interesting. And so we're going to sit down here, kind of do a part 2 follow-up of the previous podcast that we did a year and a half ago, talking about the context of the farm, especially now that I have more context having been here, you know, how you guys are planting so many trees, and especially your role as compost manager. All right, you're not specifically doing the agroforestry here, compost man. And so yesterday we went out at night and sprayed on the tractor, which looks terrifying, but actually, you can use these implements for good, not just for toxic sprays. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff. But firstly, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Laurenz, for having me here for the last few days, and we're going to enjoy some cherries as we go, because what we're going to do is we're going to take these. This is my last day here in Europe, going to New Zealand tomorrow. Taking a bunch of seeds with me. You can see it's dark. Got a bunch of ash in there to help it get through customs. Pro tip. Anyways.
Let's hope it helps.
It should. It's historically worked pretty well for me. So, context for the farm here. It's been fascinating. It's a research farm, but it's also doing things like in a really practical way of has to be income generating. You said there's a few different companies within the foundation.
Within the whole name Guten basically.
Okay.
There is the foundation. There is a company that is basically focusing on the cropping. There's a forestry company basically, and one that is about cows and agroforestry.
Cows and agroforestry is a separate one?
No, it's the same one. And we also have now as well, I missed to show you that. Maybe we will see.
What should we go see?
It's a cemetery forest. We just started. Where people go when they die.
Okay.
Cemetery.
Yeah.
But inside of the forest, and they get buried below a tree.
Oh wow.
And
the trees planted on top of them.
Yeah, they're actually already established.
Oh,
trees.
So you buried somebody below and
exactly. It's a beautiful forest, and there people can have a very peaceful death.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. We might see it as well.
Okay.
Just on the way to the airport.
Yeah. We're going today. So there's a diversity of things happening here, and the sense I get is that there's a business priority in all those companies, where in the agroforestry kind of department, it's not yet at that self-sustaining level. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Yes. Basically, this is also the goal of us to have all those companies running entirely by themselves. But basically, we with agroforestry on such a big scale, with a focus on fruit and nut trees in this climate, takes 5 to 10 years to generate a decent income.
These haven't come from the agroforestry system, by the way. They are delicious.
Yeah, but we didn't buy them as well.
We also didn't buy them. You're right. They're from the farm, old established trees, but not from the agroforestry.
Yeah, but basically, for now, the agroforestry serves as a huge research project, basically. So in general, our whole farm is kind of a living lab. So we try to take as much data as possible with all of our regenerative approaches. So it's the regenerative cropping, it's composting, it's part of the cropping. Also, for obviously the cows and the agroforestry, and here the tree nursery as well. And basically, this is right now the main purpose of the agroforestry system, I would say, to collect data, make a lot of experiments, and basically have something to spread at some point because all of our outcomes we will basically share publicly. We also work together with a lot of institutes and universities that do their research here on the farm. So basically, at some point, this like there will be a lot of knowledge being generated here from this farm. In this context, here it's also very challenging because we have like a very dry climate, like 300 to 500 millimeters a year, and also very sandy soil, plus winters that get up to -20 and late frosts up to beginning like end of May, and the first night frosts from like sometimes beginning of September. So basically sometimes just 4 months of growing season, and that makes it very challenging, not just for the agroforestry but in general to produce food here in this area. So basically a lot of farms already switched to solar farms here. We want to show that actually there's the potential to regenerate landscapes while producing food, and if we are able to do it here, it can be replicated, or it's a proof that works everywhere in Germany for sure, but maybe also on bigger farms in other parts of the world. And so my boss Benedict Boesel, who's the founder of this project and the name giver, he basically switched. We are organic since like 2005, but once he started running the whole business, he had like a mind-blowing experience at a really harsh drought year where there was like cracks in the soil, everything died on the cropping land, and before he was like, yeah, technology might save us, we just need like smart tractors, drones, whatever. And so he always described it that he was standing there on the field realizing like, okay, fuck, we have to start from ground up basically and fix the root causes, and not we cannot solve it with purely technology. Still, this is a very good help, and we're using a lot of technology as well, like satellite data, drones, and like, yeah, a lot of data collecting stations here on the farm. Also high-tech machinery on the farm. But the whole focus of our operation is on the soil. We want to build soil, we want to make this farm resilient for the future, and also be an example and maybe a replicator for this technology, basically.
Yeah. This is going to turn into you just talking and me eating cherries the whole time. I got to get these seeds out of my mouth. Hold on.
We have something to do.
Okay.
We have to finish it.
We do. Okay. That was a lot. Hopefully you caught that. Maybe you need to replay it. But a lot is happening here. And in terms of the agroforestry, yesterday when we were talking, you threw some numbers around about how on conventional cropland people can expect to get, was it €2,000 per hectare?
No, in this case it was a 3-hectare plot.
Yeah.
In those conditions here, in farming organic, yeah, it can be like, yeah, maybe around 2,000 per hectare.
And then the studies that were done, the research by whatever economists here in Germany on this plot of land where you have implemented agroforestry, the keyline system, estimated from, what's it, 70 in 10 years time. In 10 years time from installation, generating between 70 and 100,000 euro per year.
Exactly.
Where do you guys see that as like a realistic thing, or does that seem out of reach, or is it like, do you see a pathway to that?
I think it's definitely possible. For sure, the most important thing in the end is finding a good market. But for now, we market all of our meat in direct sales. So we already have a established like community that buys from us.
And is that mostly local? Is it around Germany? Is it in
Whole
Berlin?
Germany. You can order our meat in whole Germany. So if you want regeneratively grown beef, then and in Germany you can order from everywhere. And it's literally the best meat I ever tasted because they're just in the field the whole year and get shot in the field, no stress, just grass, hay, silage in the winter. So yeah, really, really nice. And yeah, we need to, maybe we can sell it in the same way, but for sure fruits are a bit more difficult to ship maybe. But we will see. Maybe we already have some established like fruit tree lines on the side of the fields. Sometimes from old communist times, with nice varieties as well. And we used to make juice as well already, and even like liquor. And this sells also very good. But there has to be a lot of creativity to find like good ways to market those fruits. But there might be even a possibility to have people come here and pick their own fruit and have an event at the same time.
Yeah.
Eat some sausage from our cows and snacks and fruits at the same time.
How important do you think branding is for farms? Because obviously not every farm can do that without branding. And so you've built this, not a personal brand, but you've built a brand for the business, which allows for that kind of thing where the average farmer might say, I don't have a brand, I'm just a farmer. I need to be able to grow a product and sell it, and that's it. I don't want to have to do all this other stuff and social media and events. No.
Yeah, I think it's tricky if you don't have a good brand and a good like marketing opportunity that comes with it. Because in most cases, like even people that grow the best food, they sell it to the wholesale and nobody realizes it's actually medicinal quality kind of. But there maybe comes like cooperatives into play. Like this is I think a very nice idea to get a bunch of farmers together and market their products together so they can have a better value from them. But for us it's definitely perfect like this. We build our brand, it's working well. We have a good reputation and have events here. We have farm tours and people come from politics, from like all over the world because they're inspired by the vast scale of the project and the diversity. So that's very rare to find this combination.
Mm. We'll scoot this way. We'll get you out of the sun.
Uh-huh. Thanks.
I'm going so much faster than you. You're talking and I'm just like enjoying. It's like eating candy and just listening to you talk about shit that I love. Okay. It's interesting. How much of the brand building do you think is just like pretty drone images and like shots of cows and trees because people just eat it up? Because like I don't see a whole lot of like agroforestry content on the brand, on the page, and that's part of why I'm here to learn because I see all these beautiful projects, Amadeco included, but there's no detail about the agroforestry, and I'm a sucker for detail. I need to see it, and now I see it, and so I'm happy, I'm satisfied. And so I think that there's this hunger for people wanting to like see more of this kind of stuff. And is that the easiest way? Is like pretty drone footage, nicely laid out lines, well organized system, and that's
I think first of all, you haven't checked out the Instagram account of the foundation. That is
which is
Fink Stiftung or Fink Foundation.
okay.
And yeah, I forgot to mention it's also a part of, or maybe I mentioned it, it's a part of the farm
Mhm.
that is responsible for organizing all the research that's being done here and the education and so on. But and there's way more content in this direction. But I think actually our brand was built more from basically newspaper articles and like series. There was a Disney series filmed here,
Ah, that's right. There was a Disney series.
and
Are you in it?
yes,
Nice.
you can see my nipples.
You're on the
there.
Disney. Really
Yeah,
nice. You're famous for that.
yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so what was that like? And how did that increase exposure, and how did that change the farm?
Yeah.
And how did that even come about in the first place?
My boss is a genius in organizing things like this. So yeah, he organized. Or somehow it happened. I don't know. But
Super helpful.
they were. He's like everywhere on all. Like he used to go on all the conferences and meet a lot of people, and a lot of people were also approaching him asking, "Hey man, that's a fucking cool project. Maybe we can do a series about it, something like this." And they were here for 1 year, just filming our work. It was also the first year where we implemented here the tree nursery, where I started making compost. So it was like kind of the beginning, and it changed. Yeah, it had a big impact, I would say, especially like people told me, people told me that they were very happy to have this topic in mainstream media, and also have like a good introduction to regenerative agriculture.
Yeah.
I was not really happy about it because we were literally like talking our mouth dry, because in terms of like trying to bring as much knowledge as possible in the series, and like sparking, like showing how cool agriculture can be.
And how much just got cut out?
Yeah, so much just got cut out.
That's why we're giving you the uncut.
Yeah.
Right? Disney couldn't do it. That's why we're
Yeah, and there was like way too much emotion and like beautiful pictures, in my opinion, and just like a little bit of knowledge. Even though, yeah, a lot of people were still appreciating it, being like their first introduction to the topic.
Of course.
But I was expecting like a real nice documentary, but it was more like a Disney documentary, what was kind of obvious. But yeah, this was one thing that was changing our reputation and giving us a lot of attention. But as well, my boss Benedict wrote a book, basically about all of our departments. So we were also very involved in the writing, and this actually had a way higher impact, because actually a lot of the interns that are here, they were like, yeah, I was reading this book and I was like, fuck yeah, this is what I want to do.
Interesting. Is it in English?
No, it's in German, but I think it's going to be published in English, because it was very successful. Like I think we sold like, I don't know, 50,000 copies already, or it was or even more. I'm not sure, but this was then very detailed, or much more detailed, and people were loving it. And so this, I think, even had a bigger impact than our social media or the series, but all of it for sure plays together. You have a good
It doesn't have the dead cat, like the fuzzy stuff on it. Yeah, take the opportunity to eat some cherries, man.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna just keep recording until the cherries are done. So once the cherries are done, we gotta drive to the airport. And I'm smashing through these cherries, and as he's talking, I'm just hand to mouth. So, what else do you want to know about? What else do we want to talk about? Yeah, that makes sense though. That's not been a predominantly like social media based brand. It's been built through books and Disney Channel.
But at the same time, we're in the social media game, and we're pretty good in it, I would say. We make beautiful videos, but for the real information, you have to, or more detailed information, you have to check out the Think Stiftung and Think Foundation Instagram, and read the book and come here, do a workshop or something like that. But yeah, all read the studies that were done here, like all the research, basically. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. So I'm lazy. I haven't seen the right Instagram page. Haven't read the books. Haven't read the research. But because I know Laurenz, I'm like, let me just come. Let me just come for 2 days. Well, it's been great. Because last year at my site, we talked a lot about planting these trees from seed, top grafting them, but now learning that it's a pulp that you guys are using to make it really easy blew me away. I don't even know. You might have even mentioned it in the recording that we did. I don't know. But hearing it here just like unlocked a whole new level of understanding and appreciation for the work. And seeing the equipment and all the machinery that you guys are using, the scale, it's super impressive.
In terms of the seeding, we are also constantly developing. For example, last year we built this machine that does direct seeding of trees with the tractor, and therefore it was a bit more like challenging to like prepare the seeds, because we were also using seeds from pulp that were fermented. But in this case, because we wanted to get them seeded in this machine and make it even, we were also throwing another experiment in there. We were coating the seeds with a mixture of clay and also some nutrients also. No nutrients. Just like to have it coated to. They use it basically also in broad scale seeding in forests, because then it has more protection when it dries off, for example. But in general, it gives a lot of benefits. So we were using this technology, but first we had to clean the seeds out of the pulp, coating it, and then being able to seed it. So this was a bit of extra work, but in the end we could sow like very fast, like 9 kilometers in 2 days. So before this was different, and we're constantly getting better. We're still developing this technology, but it's definitely the way to go here in this area. Go plant by seed, or I think in general it's the best way.
Yeah. And that's with the potato seeder that's been modified? Yeah. I love that thing. That's super cool. I think it unlocks the ability to plant 9 kilometers of agroforestry, super dense, super diverse, low effort.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like now because we did a lot of experiments and made so many different types of systems, but now we have gained a lot from this already, a lot of knowledge. So we're now about to put this in big scale, like 200 hectares in the next 3 years, and this means we need to know how to manage and establish it in a mechanized way, and we will go like a lot with direct seeding, and it will be, I think, very, very interesting to observe how, because now we know, okay, Syntropic agroforestry works very well here on this location, and the trees do well without irrigation, but how much can we like take off without having like
How much of the complexity can you strip away without losing like the benefits that allow it to work in the first place?
And it will be still like a diverse system, that's for sure. Like for the hedgerows will be very diverse, but at the same time, like we will not have the chance to manage as intensively. So there will be.
You don't want to weed 200 hectares of nobody's weeding that.
No, and also like pruning the herbaceous layer, for example, will be impossible if we not make it in a way that it's mechanizable, like planting them on the side and mowing there from the side, for example. Yeah.
That's what Amadeco is doing.
Also on the sides and then mowing it.
Yeah, but it's a mono, like a single species one. Yeah. Because otherwise you have different growth rates, different responses to pruning, and so they figured out which species works well for this type of management. Cool. Along the edges.
Yeah, perfect.
But they're doing that by plugs, they're not seeding that.
Yeah, you're safe, definitely, if you planting them like this. We used to do it as well. Now in the later stages of implementing systems, we were also just planting them by plugs.
It's cool. It's cool to see how, like, the idea of convergent evolution, like mammals and birds, right? Bats develop wings. Birds from reptiles also develop wings. They weren't talking together about how to make wings, and I appreciate that about, for example, you guys here and Amadeco kind of convergently aligning on this idea of herbaceous layer on the edges for easy management at scale. Like it's super clear that is a direction that's going to allow this to become more efficient and mechanized. And so
it's necessary to get this into big scale. I mean, especially here in Northern Europe, we have very high labor costs. So to make it accessible for other farms, it's and also for us, like manageable, it has to be a bit more efficient, and there will be some trade-offs, that's for sure, but I think it will be still working well. That's no doubt.
Well, and every year you're constantly iterating, you're constantly learning, and the problem does become like, man, once you're implementing 50 hectares per year, like the small little fuck ups, they're big. Yeah. And so there is value in staying small for longer. I promise you.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that you guys are just like blasting ahead.
I mean, 6 years ago we planted our first system.
Yeah.
And now we feel confident enough to and the very first system was a very boring popular monoculture system. So we learned fast, made a lot of experiences with the Syntropic systems, and I think now we will combine the both worlds basically.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to get to see what you guys are doing, compare it to Amadeco, compare it to the ketchup factory in Portugal. Those have so far been my 3 favorite systems I've seen here in Europe. The ketchup factory in Portugal, Amadeco in Italy, and here Guten Bozel in Germany. just because the efficiency, the scale, the precision, and the focus on production, right? A lot of the other projects, super cool for all their own reasons, but I'm as I go further in this journey, I'm appreciating a lot more those systems that do have focus, that do have that commercial viability, and or at least pushing towards that.
Yeah.
In a really simplified but still complex way. So
Yeah, because we all want this to be the new normal way of agriculture, kind of.
Yeah.
And so nobody will adapt it if it's not like possible to make money from it and manage it. So
yeah.
yeah, that's huge. Yeah, bro, I'm already.
He's already
like
tapping out of the
fighting.
cherries. See, I'm just still loving this because this reminds me of growing up in Oregon and just having cherries in the backyard. That I would just like. We used to like play tag with cherries.
Yeah.
Like throw them at each other really hard, like leave little welts. Super bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I remember I got hit in the eye one time with a cherry. Fucking so bad.
Cherry eye.
Yeah. Turned bright red like a cherry.
Funny.
Well, it's cool, man. I feel like, if we're gonna stick with that example of like the convergent evolution of the bats and the the mammals and the birds, and making those connections, I feel like I'm in a really special position of like the Charles Darwin of agroforestry, who just gets to go and explore all these places and like see the little grainy nuance and like make these connections and hopefully get to share that information with anybody who's interested. Because it certainly wasn't out there 5 years ago, this kind of information.
No.
And 5 years ago, most of it was in Portuguese. And so
Yeah.
it's a pleasure to get to have this to offer to
Yeah.
the world that has given me so much.
Yeah, and it's such an important function, like also that's what you're fulfilling, kind of to spread this information and like show that like a lot of those projects you were visiting I never heard of, and I was like, oh fuck, this is actually super interesting. And because I think not everybody has as well the ability to like present themselves to the world as good, because they don't have the capacity to run like a whole like I don't know PR department.
By the way, the PR department is just me. It's nobody. It's just me. I'm doing this whole show.
Yeah, so that's I think very important to have someone to show the world, look, they're doing really nice stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I do. A lot of people look at what I do and they say, you're just naturally. You said this yesterday, which is why I'm gonna pick on you for saying it. But people say like, you're just so like naturally gifted at communicating. Like, no. You didn't know me 10 years ago, right? You didn't know me when I was in high school and like didn't have that kind of confidence and couldn't communicate so well, but I admired people who could.
Yeah.
I remember there's certain people who I was going to school with. I was like, man, I really admire how they communicate. And I thought to myself, like, what can I do to make myself more like that person in that way, where I admire this part about them? Cool. What can I practice?
Yeah.
I would take communication courses.
Yeah.
Right. I would learn these things. I would watch videos. I would learn how to like get better and self-improve.
Yeah. Amazing.
But it takes practice, and same with the videos, man. Like, I've been making videos for over 10 years. Not all like I didn't start publishing videos when I used to just like make videos for fun of like rafting and mountain biking and just like whatever I was doing. They're not anywhere online. Like I would just make them for fun. And so then when I started making videos about this stuff, people are like, man, you're so good. It's like you didn't see all the shitty videos. And I still don't think they're that great. I mean, we have a tripod here and we're just sitting and talking, but it's also fun of the evolution of content because I remember getting back from the first year of Brazil. I was telling you this recently. Like I got back with like 60 hours of footage from the first year of Brazil. I didn't do any editing when I was over there, and so I got back and I had this mountain of like awesome footage. And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna spend the next month like stitching all this stuff together just to make a cool video. And like it was lovely, but man, like a whole month, like weeks and weeks of just nonstop, like wake up, edit until sun goes down, go to sleep, wake up, edit. It was really hard. And then as I'm trying to adjust like what I'm trying to share, where I'm going, what my purpose is, That's informing a lot of how I do this. But down the road, hopefully I have more people to help produce some of the things. That's kind of the next step for me. So
Amazing.
we'll see where that goes. But trying to get a lot more of this out there, trying to get a lot more of like just the education about agroforestry and make it more common knowledge. Make it so it's not just like this super niche thing that when you talk about a tree line, people know what you mean. When you talk about strata and we talk about having a diverse system, people know what that could look like in their climate, and isn't this foreign like, oh, well, temperate syntropic agroforestry just doesn't work. Well, no, it's because you haven't seen what they're doing here. Ah, well, you can't plant things from seed. Well, no, you just haven't seen how they're doing things here. Like, ah, well, it doesn't work at scale. Well, no, you just haven't seen what they're doing here. And part of that, the joy in that is being like the Charles Darwin of this and saying, all right, let me go find these people and show and for me see, and then hopefully talk about it enough that it can become common practice, even if it's just among practitioners. I know these videos aren't reaching like huge amounts of people, but even if it's just reaching practitioners, then they talk about it and it becomes like that becomes a hub of information for their local community.
Yeah, I love that idea. I think it's amazing. It's so necessary.
You still left me with a lot of cherries.
Yeah, well,
you're slowing down.
I took the best ones first. And
dude, I promise I had all the best ones first. I was like, I'm gonna be shitting red on the plane. This is gonna be great. Okay, well, we'll probably have to go soon.
How did you like the spraying yesterday?
Let's talk about the spraying. It was fun, man. I haven't ridden in a tractor that big in the middle of the night before, so it was really enjoyable. Can you tell me a little bit about what that was? Because we're doing something that looks like evil, right? When you think of big agriculture, you think of these like big aggressive tractors with the big wings and spraying shit, and that's exactly what we're doing. So what were we doing, man? Clarify that.
Yeah, basically, a lot of people ask me that because as well, like we're in an organic farm, and I go out spray during the night, so everybody's like, oh, this is probably like going to be illegal.
You're being sneaky.
Yeah, he's cheating. But basically, I think every farm, even organic or conventional, should have a sprayer because you have so much more ability to have an influence on plant health. So basically what we're doing, we're spraying nutrients, mostly micronutrients.
The ones that you made in your witch laboratory?
Not really.
No.
There are mostly microorganisms in the compost, but we also buy like minerals. I also used to do it from weeds sometimes, like biofertilizers. But to be honest, on such a scale, it's way more efficient and handy to just buy a bag of like zinc sulfate.
Because you could go collect a bunch of thistle and get the calcium out of it, and then make the thing.
Yeah, but
at a scale.
But it's I really love that you can do it by your own, and I also want the main purpose of my department is basically to show farmers actually you're not dependent on a fertilizer company or anything that makes you really dependent. You can make your own fertilizer, you can make your own inputs. It's maybe a bit more work, but you first of all have completely control about the quality of your products, and you're independent. And my worry is that basically now the world is adapting more and more regenerative agriculture, and they get like the same products from the people that were selling them the poisons before and are responsible for the fuck up, and are now making them dependent again with the inputs that may be not as detrimental, maybe even beneficial, but still have this dependency. And so basically I'm using micronutrients and microorganisms, either from my compost or from fermentation processes I make myself, or from a jug. Like for example, yesterday we were spraying as well like some nitrogen fixing bacteria. They are like Azotobacter is their name. So they don't need nodule. They are free living nitrogen fixers, and they even fix the nitrogen on the plant, but also in the soil. And I bought those. I multiplied them. I brewed them by myself, and then I apply it. So we don't have to buy like synthetic nitrogen. We get it from the bacteria. And the micronutrients are also like supporting the microorganisms, but also increasing the plant health, because it's very necessary for the metabolism of the plant. So, for example, if the plant is missing like magnesium, the chlorophyll is actually not as present or as active. So actually you have less photosynthesis. That means less growth, but also less oxidation in the soil and less soil buildup. And that's what we're aiming for, to maximize photosynthesis, even in the big cropping and plant health. Because if the plant is really healthy, it actually can help itself against pests and diseases. I had many experiences like this, where I saw some of our plants like very infested with a certain bug that I knew is only able to digest the plant because it's not able to convert the simple forms of nitrogen into protein. So I sprayed the right minerals. From one day to the other, all bugs were gone, but I didn't kill them. I just made them made it impossible for them to digest it. So basically we can use it as a pesticide, but not with the same effects. And
it's different because disgusting. It's different because pesticide is like killing pests, whereas this is like a pest go away.
Yeah.
You don't have any function here anymore because
Exactly.
the plant is healthy. It has everything it needs.
Yeah. And so basically we can have even in an organic scenario good control about like plant development, plant health, and in the end produce a crop that has more nutrients and is yielding better. So it's a no-brainer why not everybody's doing it. But it requires a lot of knowledge and also high-tech technology. We have to send samples into a lab and get the results, know what to spray, and I have to come up with my formula. And there's not no consultants in Germany. I actually get consultancy from America, from Advancing Eco Agriculture, to tell me, okay, you need this amount of this, or you should reach this level of nutrient in the plant. And it's still a kind of new technology, but I really like to practice it, to also show other farmers here in this area, look, you can actually, it saves them a ton of money, because a pesticide is way more expensive than the nutrients, and you have a win-win instead of just maybe one win. And so the microbiology plays also a huge role in my department. So I make good compost to extract the microbes from it and then apply it into the soil, on the seed or on top of the plant, while either spraying or while seeding. And this gives the right microbiome to the roots, because basically the digestion system of the plant is outsourced to the roots, but it does the same function then in our gut, like it makes nutrients available, protects us from diseases, and is also in the soil building soil. So the combination is just amazing.
Mm.
Bringing the right biology on the seed and then feeding the plant to be able to feed the biology very well. And yeah, I think for me this is also still fitting in the syntropic mindset and kind of like using our intelligence and the tools we have to have a beneficial impact on the whole ecosystem. And basically, yeah, we can, like, especially if you're dependent on the income from your crop, even in your syntropic system where you think like, I might fix it just with pruning and mulching, but if there's like a severe deficiency in the soil, you're depending on the income from your crops, then you have to spray some nutrients to like, yeah, earn something and make it harvestable. So I think it's a good way to secure the farmer, kind of, to have something in hand that is not just giving you a good income, but it's increasing the quality, helping build up soil, and at the same time, letting the plant grow better.
You do great work, man.
Thanks, bro.
I'm excited to come back in 1, 2 years, 3 years, see how the trees have grown, see how you've grown, and see which direction you keep pursuing. We had a chat about it last night, so I'm excited to see as that goes.
Yeah, we will see. I think there's a lot of good things to come, and every year is like we're growing, you're growing, I'm growing, the system is growing, so never stop growing.
Let's grow. Cool. Thank you, man. Get to the airport now.
Yes, let's go.
Hope you enjoyed it.